was Genesis.
Hello, everyone, and welcome back to the Second Kings podcast. Welcome back, Sleuth. And we're going to go ahead and have Lane kick it off.
Lane.
Not Lan.
Oh my God.
Lane kick it off with some trivia.
What you got?
Join my LAN.
Oh, I actually have a good one, but I know the answer because it's coming from my head.
Okay. What did the Philippian jailer say to Paul after he heard the gospel?
Based.
I agree.
Fed.
I haven't read the answer yet.
I have no idea the answer.
Like, are we looking for like a direct quote here? Like,
He said...
Word for word.
I like that story. Answer, what must I do to be saved?
Dude is based.
okay.
This got very basic thing.
Like
to say.
it. What did Paul say?
Oh, that is the next one. It says, how did Paul and Silas respond?
What did they say? I'm curious.
Yeah, read it.
Believe in the Lord Jesus and you will be saved.
Also do works.
Agree.
That's Ross's footnote.
Not with that. Also. But if you believe in the Lord Jesus, you will do works. It's that simple.
So when Paul says, in order to be saved, you need to believe in the Lord Jesus, he's wrong.
No, he's right. I agree with that.
Oh, but he didn't say do works.
Well, this is not the debate. I mean, but if you believe, then you'll have the fruits of the Spirit, which are, go to Galatians chapter 5 to see.
Love, joy, peace, patience.
Yeah, memorize.
There's
Nice.
some others in
Those
there.
kindness.
Self-control, kindness.
Yeah, I think that's it.
No, there's more.
Love,
there's 9,
joy,
I think.
peace, and patience,
I think there's
kindness,
9.
goodness, faithfulness, something,
Self-control.
somethingness, and
righteous-
self-control.
Yeah.
Righteousness and self-control.
Maybe.
Temperance.
No.
I don't even know
I
if
don't
that's a
think
word.
that's-
I think it is.
It is.
Somebody told me. I think
I think
it was
there's
from Mere
9.
Christianity talked about it or something.
The reason I know that is from doing cross street, like leading a cross street
Nice.
small group, and we would sing that song.
Based.
I know.
So
Flex.
the topic, Wyatt, the topic is
So the topic we're going to be discussing today, from a Christian POV, is how we want to educate, or what type of schooling we want to make our kids go through. As in, do we want to do homeschooling? Do we want to do private schooling or public schooling?
worth disclaimer at the
Or no school.
point of recording. No kids in the works. All of us are
No
not close.
buns in the oven.
No buns in the oven, and none
Don't say
in the foreseeable years, possibly decades.
Don't say it.
Regardless, so I was actually talking about this with my mom today because I've been having thoughts about the current status of public schools. When I was going through public schools, I had generally a good time, not too many cringe things. Yeah, they talk about like evolution.
Our principal is gay.
We all went to the same high school, and our principal was gay in high school. They identified as gay.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Thank you. However, I did not talk to our principal, so didn't really affect much. Regardless of that, I'm more talking about weird experiences I had. Obviously, okay, public school is crazy, but nothing too cringe. I don't think I went through. What about you guys?
Agreed.
So
I don't know. It's just the saying agreed. It's so funny.
Absolutely.
do taff. However, there's been kind of a shift in the force in public school.
There's been an awakening.
There's been an awakening, and I'm not sure if I want my kids to go through that, especially at a young age, like going through elementary school
with like drag queens
and then
reading books.
Story hour.
and then being taught
litter boxes
like
in the bathroom or something.
being gay is okay, or identifying as gay, however you want to phrase that, or just being taught different ideologies that I just don't agree with, like race, like critical race theory and other gender stuff.
Like over half, I know this because the work I have done this semester, I did research into this, but like over half of all public schools in America have curriculum where like kindergartners are taught gender identity. Like literally kindergartners are taught gender identity, and third graders are taught about like puberty blockers. Yeah. And like early transgender like surgeries they can undertake. And like that's like over half of all the public schools in America are teaching that.
Yeah, that's
for third grade.
I don't know if our school district, I don't know specifically, probably not, because the area we live in is
very conservative.
Even though we had a principal who said that she was gay, but still the area is still pretty conservative.
I mean, there's no. I mean, I knew it was bad, but you're telling me in third grade they're like having like a subject one day about
here's straight up puberty blockers. Like, if you want to
transition.
What was the other thing? There was like puberty blockers and it was something else in that same vein. I can't remember the other thing. Maybe
girls going.
Guy
to girls more common. Maybe we'll talk about that demasculation in another episode.
Yeah,
guy to girl is more common.
It's because testosterone is being suppressed.
So
that's sorry. I was going to talk about that.
I was going to, but I was just
get back on track.
Episode.
Back on track. So with that in mind, I've now been looking. I don't even know why I'm looking so far ahead, but I was looking at some private schools in the area.
What?
I sent a picture to you guys.
You sent a picture of apartments.
No, I literally saved the picture. I said, like, never too early to check this out or something along the lines of that. Just to gauge what was going on. Because that's how I told you guys the price. I told you $10,000 a year for private school.
Oh.
Wyatt planning his like future with his kids 10 years out.
Wyatt gets one girl's phone number. I now need to plan all of where they will go and how we will raise our children.
I need to know how much money
day.
I need to make in order to fund this.
Date at this church.
I mean, that's why I did it. I need to know how much it costs.
No, I know.
Yeah.
It is expensive.
However, I was talking about it with my mom today, and she was saying that homeschooling is worth it up until middle school, and then possibly do private school for middle school, and then my own personal, maybe be like you could do public school for high school if you want, or you can stay in public or private if I guess I can afford it. And all that is if I can afford it, private school, because like I said, it's like it could be up to $10,000, even more, $10,000 a year. I feel like would probably be a good one.
You are the money maker of this group. If you can't afford it, then none of us will.
I mean, you're going to be like the Prez. So.
It's so far from reality, unfortunately.
But yeah, that is a thought that goes through. Like, I do want to make enough to where I could have a, decent sized family, and also be able to provide enough for, like, one, my wife not to have to work, so she maybe could homeschool our kids, and then two, to be able to afford private school. So it's definitely a thought that's going through our mind.
Yeah.
You guys might think it's early, but you guys are actually behind.
Maybe. Yeah, I mean, I think homeschooling is optimal.
We're here.
What was that? What did that? What copied that recently?
Oh.
What were we watching?
We said it, the other day. I don't remember. Horton Hears a Hue.
I need to know that. We have to pause until I figure out what that could have been. It was Star Wars when they're in like the hole in the ground. The anime.
Oh, yeah, Star Wars Visions.
And then they did it.
They like start yelling to get the... We're here. That was good. What were you saying?
Anyways...
That was an important side.
It was.
Yeah. Homeschooling, I think, is
a little
optimal.
Touch into our personality.
But the key with homeschool, though, it's like...
Please continue.
It's like your wife has to stay at home, is the issue.
Oh, no. Yeah, so that is something. So...
Well, Wyatt said it, like... But I'm just like...
I agree.
Yeah.
No, I worked with a girl, one of my coworkers, this past...
Girl?
I know, it's crazy. She was homeschooled, from kindergarten through high school. She was homeschooled forever.
That's too much.
And now, number one, I don't agree with it either. But two, she wasn't once she said it, I could tell, but it wasn't like overly like weird, obvious. Like she wasn't like super like the homeschool like cliche.
Yeah.
And she said it's because so many more people are homeschooling because of what's going on. There's like communities. It's like you can still like it's like here's like the homeschool like soccer team, and it's still like you're still getting that interaction, and like here's the homeschool like choir or orchestra, or like so like you still have that kind of stuff, and that stuff's growing because so many more people are homeschooling their kids. So that's part of it. So like they're not super like antisocial, but also what her parents did, she said, was I think they homeschooled from kindergarten, or they forced them to be homeschooled from kindergarten through 8th grade, and then they gave them the option to go to high school. I don't remember if it was public or private. I can't remember.
That's what I said.
But I know, yeah, that's why I'm saying it. And she was one of 4 kids, and the 2 girls stayed homeschooled throughout high school, and the 2 boys chose to go to like real high school.
Chad.
No, I know.
That is interesting that they chose to stay though.
I know they chose, and their parents. I think they forced them to stay through middle school. I think that's what they said.
So something to consider too
that's
is
something interesting. But she was also like she was taking like she said like college class, like she was like, and not even how we take like weird like AP or like dual credit. Like she was just legit like enrolled in a community college, and like going there as part of her homeschool stuff. Like she was able to do that.
That's
stuff.
not homeschooled.
Oh, I know exactly. I know, but it granted her that ability.
I'm
to,
homeschooled. I mean, I go to community college.
I know.
Wait, what?
Yeah, I don't know. But
something to consider though would be like the athletics of the child too. So like if I'm having a son, I'd want him to like be involved in like sports and stuff.
Well, did you hear what I just
So
said?
that's why I would want like nothing past elementary school in my opinion. Ideally, they'd be built up enough, even though like they're still like, I mean, like they're still not that smart in like 6th grade, but like their foundation would be strong enough to where I think it would be okay to send them into public school, and that way they'd still have like the social and like the being able to
You think
being
public,
a
not
part
even
of
private.
like sports team.
You're straight up with the
I mean,
critical
if
race,
we're-
LGBT. You're down
like,
with that stuff.
Let's go.
I mean, they need to know the enemy, which is the world.
I don't know. I think definitely like 6th graders. What are they? 10, 11?
I don't know.
Oh, at the
Ross
time
be like,
I was.
They're fully developed.
No, I didn't say that. I said I think it is.
Send them
enough.
into the hellfire.
He's
But
ready.
no, I mean private if I have the funds, but I mean it's pretty pricey.
I mean, yeah, $10,000 a year.
I think I'll send them with the wolves. They'll figure it out.
I mean, let's.
I think it's just so important. I mean, I think Ross could be right, but like I feel like if I was a parent, like I would be talking to my kid like every day. Like, what are they telling you at school? And like reading the Bible with them every day, like taking them to church and be like, what, like making sure you are like checking, because so many parents are just like too busy and like
iPad
go
kid.
play on your
Yeah.
go play on your phone and watch TikToks of satanic drag queens all
Yeah.
day, and it's like you just, which we wouldn't be
Yeah.
that way obviously anyway, but it's just like I don't know. I even if they're in private school, like I feel like I would be asking like, what are they teaching you?
What I will
They
say
teaching
is
you the Earth is round at their school? What's going on?
what I will say is this whole like iPad kid phase, where I guess the backlash to the iPad kid, like everyone be like, oh, when I raise kids, they're not going to be iPad kids. I'm calling crap. I think that
Yes.
when they get in the situation, they're going to have iPads.
And
It's the
it
easy
will-
way out.
I will not.
No, well, of course, everyone except
Everyone
for
except
Duet.
me
Yeah.
and you guys.
It will. That is true, and it will be worse than
Worse.
iPads. Like
Yeah.
whatever, like
VR
VR
kid?
Yeah, no,
VR
it
kid.
literally will be like Ready Player One
Yeah.
porn. Like
Yeah.
it will be. It's gonna be so bad. I think AI. Like
This
Yeah.
what I will say though, whenever like I was like growing up and like obviously like it's so much more woke and like progressive now, like it is rapidly accelerated. But like whenever like my parents are talking to me about like politics or stuff, it's like they are totally right and like anybody at school or something is wrong.
yeah,
I feel like you like hold your parents' like opinions in like a high regard. So like I think that we would be fine because it's like I'd come home from school and my dad would say something about Obama and I'm like, yeah, that's right.
no, same.
And I would take that knowledge to
No,
school with
same.
me. You know?
I remember people like saying whenever Obama got elected in like 2008, I think I was in first grade, and we did like a school election for some reason. And I remember people being like, Obama kills children because he like supports abortion or whatever. I remember like this girl told me that actually that goes to the church, not anymore, but the church I go to in my hometown. Sorry.
Be very careful here. Navigating the minefield.
And I remember she told me that, and I was like, what?
That's true, though. What I'm worried about, though, Ross, is, like, how do you make sure that our kids are like us? Because some kids, I think, is like they like they like whatever their parents say. They just because their parents say, they're like, I disagree with that, and they just like rebel instantly. So like, number one, why are kids like that? Why are we not like that? And how do we ensure our kids are not like that?
I mean, yeah, I think there's a book called How to Raise a Conservative Daughter. I think that's probably a good read. Hopefully,
well, I'm not gonna have a daughter.
I mean, what I will say,
your daughter will marry my son.
Yeah, Ross has failed to come to terms with that reality.
Yeah, your Stacy will marry my Chad.
What I will say is, I don't remember my parents ever mentioning anything political growing up to me, which is, I don't really, I can't like think of the first time I like had like political beliefs. Like, obviously I just told you about the thing, but that wasn't my parents. I remember my dad didn't vote for Obama, and then I remember my dad...
Obama?
I think it was freshman year of...
Sorry.
I think...
I'm so sorry.
I think it was my freshman year of high school when Trump got elected, and I remember my dad... And that was like kind of the first... Because freshman year, I think that I was 15... And so I think that was the first time I ever got somewhat political. Yeah, started like
very similar.
Not really caring, but like I remember telling my dad or asking my dad like, "Well, why are you voting for Trump?" He's like, "Well,
he's based."
He didn't say that. He was like, "I don't really like either of them that much, but Trump is definitely the lesser of the two." Which I think
he supports more.
That's my
Christian values. Didn't mean to cut you off.
No, you're good. And so that's like kind of the first time, like, I don't know if it's worth it to ever talk about, which maybe these aren't, maybe we shouldn't be talking about political things, maybe just our values we should be sharing, which my parents did, which then those values transferred to how I think, my values are my politics in a way.
Yes, but this is, I was thinking about this whenever we were doing, you weren't here for it, but we were talking with Phil, the death penalty debate, and Phil was like talking about like American stuff, and like in my head I was, or a little bit after, like with what I said, like you're Christian before American or whatever.
I did hear, actually I did listen to that.
And part. I'm like, a couple like hours after, I'm just like thinking like at night, like before I go to sleep, and I'm like, I'm never gonna say I'm conservative or like Republican again. I'm just gonna say I'm Christian, and I'll let them put it together. And it's like I'm a Christian before everything.
Had a famous quote, like I think this was like leading up to 2016 election. I think it was like in the
Pause for a second. I just want you to know I created that line of thinking, not Mike Pence. Okay, you can continue.
I'm gonna steal that from you.
No, it was like one of those like I was just up at night, like I couldn't go to sleep because my brain was just like
it was here.
The smartest it was.
I passed out after that. It was on this
Mike
chair.
Pence tossing in his bed right now.
No, I think it was like in like the 2016 like the VP debate, which no one like cares about or watches, but it happened still. Like, and I think Mike Pence said, I don't know if this is when he said it sometime in the lead up to 2016 election. He said, I don't know exactly what the question was, but somehow it came up, and his exact quote was, "I'm a Christian, conservative, Republican in that order," and I was like,
I like that.
I like that,
but I like just ending it at Christian.
No, it just made me think of that.
Yeah. Yeah, because I'm just thinking, my parents didn't talk to me about politics. They talked about life values, like valuing Jesus.
My mom like talked to me about abortion. I remember, like as a kid. Mm-hmm. Like, is that politics though, or is that just, I don't know.
They want you to think it's politics, but it's not. Like
she did not talk to me. I don't think about like necessarily like Republican. Mm-hmm. Republicans are pro-life. I think she just said like we are pro-life, or like we talked about it, and like do you think this is okay?
Yeah.
Yeah, and you're gonna agree with your parent.
Well, yeah.
wisdom, but also I would like to just say I've known Lane for the longest time. Maybe the most politically like engulfed child.
That's not true, dude. Okay, not true. Okay, Ross says this. Literally, compare walking into my house and what's on the TV versus the last 20 years of walking into Ross's house and their entire family is glued on Fox News for hours every single day.
It is a problem.
Fox News dad?
Both my parents are
Fox News
Fox
mom.
News mom.
Yeah.
Like
Ross has a Fox News
walking
mom.
downstairs giving us Fox News conspiracy theories.
I mean,
not true. I did not care
don't
about
get me
politics
wrong,
until
like-
high school.
I mean, my parents big Fox News people, way too much. It's literally just
Oh, it melts your brain.
They
It
probably
is
are
so
anymore.
bad.
Tucker gone.
They still are.
they still are.
'Cause I remember
but
I went
they're-
over and I was like,
they're about to.
they
switch.
fired Tucker, right? Or something.
Yeah.
And their dad was like, I know, but more still.
Oh,
or
Jesse
something.
Waters
Yeah.
is good.
But it's
Yeah.
But Lane, I mean, you definitely
Well,
were.
it's-
And my parents would. I remember my mom would always talk. She's like, "Yeah, like me and Lane's mom talked about this. Like we're talking about."
Oh,
like,
well, no,
abortion
my
or
mom.
something."
Yeah, very political.
Lane is trying to create this persona that he was not political at all until high school, and I'm
I
telling
wasn't.
you, is
It wasn't
false.
until it was doing debate in high school.
Like Lane is
why I
starting to get
care.
involved in like politics, and let me tell you, I saw it coming from day one. And it's
What I will
him.
say
think
is
it's-
I didn't
he's in
know
the right
Lane
spot.
very well before high school. We went to the same church, but he was just a background character at the time, and I even saw it coming.
Maybe it's true. Maybe I'm tunnel vision or something, but I don't. They could be true. I don't know. But I do I think it's not. I think especially with social media and everything, and literally, I mean, like Ross said, not to reveal too much or whatever, but getting involved in politics and the political world, people talk about it so much. And it's you sometimes just need a break. I'm I can't
Wait,
talk
about
about
politics?
About politics. And I think it's a mix of social media and 24-hour news and
And having your
Twitter.
phone on glued to you.
No, and people are always like,
notifications.
"Oh, what did Trump just say? Oh,
Yeah.
well, what did
No.
the new tax policy?" And it's just turn it off. Who for in the 80s, 90s, for all of history, politics was boring to people. This was not something you
Yes.
talked about. And now though it's so hyper who did you vote for and how do you? And it's I don't. Who cares? It doesn't matter. Just let it be.
That's the beginning of Big Short. Stocks used to be boring.
Yeah, and now that you can do it on your phone.
Bankers used to be
And now
not the
it's
job
all-
you want.
It's
Now
also-
the job.
Same with accounting.
Yeah,
I think.
It's way more glorified than you think.
Oh well, I don't know.
I feel like this too. It's because everybody wants to feel like they're smart, but everybody is very dumb,
So true.
and that's all it is.
And that's what social media gives stupid, unimportant people an opportunity to make them feel important and smart, which they are not.
Yes.
Is maybe what you just
Yes.
said, but
No, I agree. And whenever I said everybody, I'm saying it pretty much the same way when it's I'm saying including myself. Pretty much everybody is dumb.
except for us.
Well,
We are a higher tier.
we've
We
talked
have
about
ascended for sure.
why do we always have the best opinions on almost
It is
everything?
crazy, and
It's
we
because
agree.
we are in
Yeah.
a circle of open-mindedness and awakening. It's totally not that we're just all agreeing with each other, but we don't agree.
No, but it's.
agree on
I will tell
everything.
our opinion. But none of us. We also aren't really on social media, tweeting, acting like our tweet, people care about our opinions because no one does. No one cares about our opinions.
Personally, I'm on
check
True
the view
Social.
count on.
Yeah.
True Social. Hit me up at Beyond a Reason or Beyond the Reason. Put out some good truths every once in a while.
Also, check out Chess One on Beyond Horizon.
Fast forward for 25 seconds maybe, unless you want to hear silence. But maybe this is why we have better opinions. Besides, obviously there are, so that's why we think it. It's because Lane used to try to beat us in a ton of debates, so it's we had to think through.
It's so cringe.
We had to think through our stances more.
No, I think back to high school a lot. Especially in debate and when I was doing debate in high school. And I agree. It is cringe. I was so I don't even know.
Do
how
you
to
want your
describe it.
kids to do debate?
Probably not. No, because the way it just it warps your mind and it's bad. It's not good. I don't think. And there's some people. It was like a lot. There was like me and like my like friends from debate were like lesser. Like the usual like debate kid is like so much worse. I think like I was able to like be somewhat self-aware that it was happening, but so many of them get sucked in, and it's so bad.
Yeah.
In my opinion.
But it's like good because like you're thinking about your defenses, but the problem is like anybody could find defenses for anything. And I feel like whenever I think of something, I just think of like Steven Crowder. I used to watch him like in high school.
Oh, I know.
And I used to think
Crowder is the like
he's the epitome of like who you don't want to be.
No,
yes,
yes.
like look, like in retrospect, that was the worst era. Like the Steven Crowder, Ben Shapiro, like
and like that was
liberals
me.
get scores.
I know, like that was me,
like,
and it's like it's so cringe that I used to be
that.
that way.
No, and I
It's
used
so
to watch
bad.
that because like I'd like just absorb what he says, and I'm like, these are like my opinions. Because like he's just winning, and it's like
which he was winning,
but in hindsight,
and they agree with me.
at what cost?
But in hindsight, like looking back, like it's just like it's cringe, like that the arguments and stuff, like the complete style of just like trying to make people look stupid.
It is so bad.
Is like really bad, and that's what I'm like trying to get away from.
And
it's like I want to be calm whenever I'm like talking, disagreeing.
That's why Michael Knowles is literally like the shining light.
And this might be controversial. I think also Tucker Carlson has a very good way of
he's a
talking
little
with
aggressive.
others.
I feel
he is aggressive, but he does try to understand the other person and ask questions.
He might try it, but whenever I see his face with his like mouth open, head tilted,
he's understanding.
And he's, like,
he's thinking.
I don't think he's but the way his face looks, it makes him look like he's hearing the dumbest take of all time, which he sometimes is. But that's the vibe.
You
I
were
get from
trying
looking.
to cuck the tuck right now, and
you can't
you
cuck the tuck.
Do it.
You can't cuck the tuck.
Okay. I mean,
I can't school the Michael
So
Knowles.
basically,
Speaking of school,
this tangent. No, I know to bring us back on track. The answer is, I think Wyatt is right, and don't have your kid be like super political because it like happened to me and it is not good to do. Mm-hmm. But so don't talk about politics. But yes,
talk about your values.
Or Christian first.
values.
Yes, like what is a Christian, and then politics will follow later.
Yeah.
But it's so unimportant in the grand scheme.
Yeah.
But also, I think like speaking of like raising though, like with school, like possibly brainwashing, I feel like social media and like phones is like the worst part that we have to be more worried about, which is why my kid will not have social media.
Yeah.
Will your kid have a smartphone?
Oh no, not
Why
until
don't you get rid of yours?
Because I am an
True
adult.
social.
I am an adult is the reason.
We don't have real social media though. Like
YouTube.
Oh, we don't. No, YouTube. And LinkedIn.
Yeah, like I'm grinding Merle Meese.
No, YouTube is a real social media for sure, but it can be used in a way that's not. But the way that we use it,
I don't think
YouTube counts.
YouTube Shorts definitely is.
I mean, I don't.
In the way of it's melting your brain and you're hearing like all these takes from people.
But it's so much like there's so much worse.
Mm.
Like YouTube Shorts, like compared to like Twitter or TikTok, like
YouTube Shorts is TikTok. It's like it's the same
but
thing.
it's so different. Like TikTok, you are getting like personal like one. It's like content creators.
Yes,
and it's like one after the other. Whereas YouTube Shorts is like, for me at least, my experience on YouTube Shorts is like clips from podcasts
or like TV shows.
It is a lot of clips.
TV shows,
I've never had
movies.
TikTok.
Like it is a completely different sphere than TikTok.
And
TikTok is
occasionally,
way more addicting. I've had TikTok and it is very addicting. YouTube Shorts, I don't have the YouTube app, so I go through Safari and you have to click play on every single
You deleted YouTube app?
I've never had the YouTube
I
app.
actually told a friend that you did this because he was talking to me about limiting his screen time.
I need to delete YouTube.
And he was talking about how he's going to delete YouTube, and I'm like, oh, I had a friend that did that, and he just uses Safari, and he's still on it.
I've never.
And
I've
he
had,
thought
like,
it was the funniest thing in the world.
It is so bad. I will say, because one, you can't turn your screen sideways and lock the screen. It always will turn back if you try and lock the screen. And then YouTube Shorts, you have to click play on every single one, and they do not load like half the time. So like, I don't really scroll YouTube Shorts that often. Sometimes I'll get them on my computer.
That's the problem with limiting like social media.
Yeah. I scroll YouTube Shorts on my computer.
Yeah. The problem though with that is like
yeah,
limiting.
that's the true Russell.
And like the making it inconvenient and stuff. no matter how inconvenient it is, if you want it, you will always return to it. It's like a
no matter
dog
how
returning to his own
inconvenient you can
vomit.
make it, there's always a convenient way to make it convenient.
Yes.
Ooh.
Sure.
Is that good?
Uh-huh.
Was that good?
It's no, and it applies to.
I mean,
like,
it's all right. It's not the caliber of I'm a Christian versus like I'm a Republican,
Dang.
but it's all right.
It's like no matter how inconvenient, you make like the screen time password. Just click
No.
it instantly.
I actually
It's
remember
a willpower.
my friend. I did his password.
No, that's what I was about to say. My mom and I talked about like
Ooh.
what if like my mom has my password,
Uh-huh.
and we change it. Like as soon as she tells it to me, somehow we find a way to change it. so
Yeah,
I
the
can't
only
use it.
problem is he did like eventually like I can't really remember. I remember I had to give it to him.
It's
Like,
just too inconvenient.
Like, yeah,
And,
it just
there's-
doesn't-
Because there are times when it's like it's not like I just need to use my phone.
yeah.
And it's like,
Yeah.
I mean, I need, in
Mm-hmm.
quotation marks, I guess. But it's like, I guess maybe I don't have to. But it's like, I'm not even, like, in the Matrix. I'm just like, I need to
Yeah.
just get on YouTube
Well,
right
like,
now.
so with my phone, I had, like, my parents, my dad in specific, had to give me the password to download apps, like, every single time until, like, just
I
recently.
remember, yeah. 'Cause
And
we were trying
honestly,
to
I'm
play,
thinking
like,
about
Brawl
going.
Stars.
Brawl Stars or something.
I'm honestly thinking about going back to it just because, like.
But do you download?
I mean,
is that a
downloading
problem? Or
apps
you,
is
I feel like you
not
don't
a
download
It's
apps
not,
enough.
but, you know,
I don't.
it could be. I don't know.
It's
I
not
guess.
worth.
But it is a like, what if I need to download an app for like? There's definitely stuff I've had to download
And
for
that's
like
why it's
school,
not worth to do that.
and I wouldn't be around because I don't live with him when I'm at college. So that's why I had to change it. But it is definitely worth it, especially if you have a kid, to do that.
If they do have screens, you have to be very controlled, and you have to be able to see everything they're doing on there.
Yeah.
Oh,
if you
no,
choose
my-
to look for sure.
Well, my children will never have a smartphone. I mean, until, like,
Flip phone.
Maybe high school. But, like, honestly, I know there are people who say, and, like, everyone always caves. Like, parents always cave, but, like,
They
you don't
do
need
cave.
you don't need a phone until you're 16. Because then your parents are always with you,
Yeah.
for the most part.
Driving doesn't start
Yeah.
until 16.
Right, so when you're 16, you can start driving away, and that's when you get a smartphone.
I mean,
I
Playing
will
with
say
friends in
though,
the neighborhood,
their
I don't
friends
think
in
they
it, like,
have-
well,
but
they're
you just use your friend's parents' phone.
no, I know, but I'm saying
It's just
usually
so
when you're
convenient.
15, you have friends that can drive, and so that
Okay, then maybe 15
maybe
or
15
whatever.
is the play.
This is
But I mean,
what I
but,
think
like,
I'm gonna
literally,
do.
Which is
when
high
we-
school,
When
so
we
just,
were
like, high school.
kids, like, if I needed to call my mom, I went and asked my friend's mom or parents to, like, I need to call my mom. But I just never needed to. But if
Yeah.
I did,
Yeah.
I'd be like, I knew my mom's phone number. I
But
memorized
as
her
a
phone number.
parent, I would want to be like, what if I need to text them?
Then you text their parent.
Oh, but like
that-
that's, and I'm just gonna have this entire contact list of every single neighborhood kid's
Well, that's how it
parents.
was.
I think
I mean,
that's
I
just how
guess
it was. It's like, whose house are you
homeowners
going
yeah.
to? Is that a safe house? Do I want you there?
Yeah,
Yeah.
And
let
if
me get their
not,
parents' phone number.
Yes, let me
so
talk to
I
them
can
and
talk
and make
with
sure
them.
that they're not going to let you
Yeah.
go, like, do drugs.
I
Yeah.
think that
or
my take though is
have sex. Or
if you
whatever.
save-
like, because it happens.
I think my take is whenever you could buy your own phone, that's whenever you could have it. And
That
then
could
if they
be
get
good.
close
That
too
could be
quick,
good.
I'm just gonna take their money, or I'm gonna be
and they
like,
won't know.
or I'm gonna like break like their Xbox or something. Oh, you gotta
Ooh.
buy that.
What about allowance? How do you feel about allowance? in
I don't
raising
like it
kids?
just because other kids got it and I didn't.
Well, see,
I had to
my
do chores
allowance.
anyway.
Okay, so when I was in
I got one. I will.
fourth grade,
I
but
know
mine
you
was like
did.
on and off.
wait, was it fourth or fifth? No, it was fifth grade. Fifth grade, I saved up for an iPod Touch because
Classic.
everyone had
Yeah.
one. I never had a DS growing up, so I didn't. I literally had like a PlayStation 2 that I like never played. Only Lego Star Wars. That was it. And
Such a good game.
so like I was not like a true. I did not like game basically in like elementary at all.
What about Brawl?
Brawl Stars.
No.
And so, well, I did have a Wii, but I don't
whatever.
really
It
know
doesn't
when that
matter,
dates.
yeah.
Regardless, so I got an iPod Touch, and my allowance was $2 a week,
So based.
Yeah.
and I would literally write on a paper, and I actually even remember like because my paper got so like I would write like first I would write a box, I'd write 2 every week. I would like add another 2. And I remember I would lie and like put more on. Not a good kid.
Yeah,
And I remember
nice.
my dad was telling his friends at like work, like, oh yeah, my kid's like allowance is like $2. And they were like, man, by the time he gets there, they're going to need the Z Pod or something like that. And so after that, they actually increased it to like $5 or something like that. So I'm not against allowance. I'm not necessarily for it. I guess if they're doing like we had to do like chores.
Well, I mean,
Yeah.
yeah, like it's my
but like
allowance was.
well, some kids just get allowance for doing nothing. So
What?
Yeah,
Yeah.
they do. It's like
What
their
like,
parents
what's
give
the
them like
point?
kind
Like
of a budget. It's their
It's
parents
an
have
allow-
money
it's
and
just-
they want
yeah.
to be cool.
So,
no,
definitely
it
have
was
to
another
work
thing.
for
Like
it.
like I feel like if I didn't do chores or something, my mom wouldn't give it to
That's
me.
how. Yeah,
Or
that's
if I,
how
like,
we have.
talked
We have.
back or
We have good
something,
parents.
Like if I like complained about doing it,
This
she's like,
is
oh, well,
my
no
take
allowance
on
then.
allowance though. It's like those like chores. You just have to do those because you have to do them.
No, I think
shouldn't-
that's a valid viewpoint.
That
for
is
sure.
my view.
Yeah,
Except like
no.
if it's something extra that's like it comes up like once in a
But
while,
the-
like maybe clean the garage, then I could
But the thing is,
give
like,
them money.
but they will. But then, how do they get stuff?
Birthday money, Christmas. That's what I did as a kid, and I was really good at saving money.
I mean, I'm trying to like. I don't even know what I bought. I don't remember. One time,
I
one
guess maybe I
summer,
should
my
buy
my
some.
dad was like, "If you go to summer school, I'll give you $25."
Yes,
$25.
Similar stuff to that.
One was a lot of money 10 years ago or 15 years ago. I don't even.
It was
how
more
old am
money
I?
than it is now.
I don't know. This is probably
Were you gonna have any
13,
candy bars you could have bought
12.
with it?
Yeah, and I
That was
remember
weird.
I went to Barnes and Noble and bought a brownie, and it was $5, and I was like, "It's like it's all gone. It's like a fifth of it is
Yeah.
gone with a brownie," and I was so mad. And that was a good lesson, actually. Also skipped like every day of summer
But
school.
then, so Ross, if you don't give them allowance, would you just like what would you buy them anything? Like just say like
No.
video games.
If I think so, I didn't have an allowance, and what I did was seriously like, I would just birthday money, Christmas money, I would save. So like I'd have like
Okay, well you had every Call of Duty every year, so where did that come
the-
from,
oh,
buddy?
I mean, okay, so sometimes like I would just ask,
Debate,
and they would, but a lot of
His
the time
$2 a
but-
week allowance.
No, but a lot of the time I would save the. I mean, I have a really big family, so like I would yield pretty good money on like birthdays and Christmas.
Oh yeah, Ross made like $10K from his
so
grad party.
I did not, but so like I would
Dropping
have
G
that
on
money
shit.
saved aside before, or like I mean Christmas presents or birthday presents too, and plus you had Philip, my brother, who he would also have his birthday presents, and we'd share these games.
Yeah, Lane never had that because I had a brother too, and we shared.
Yeah,
I know. I
we
didn't
even
have
shared like
anything.
buying Legos. Now,
But there were
and so-
times when like I'd ask my parents like, "Hey, can I get this?" And they're like, "Yeah." And then there were times when they said no. Obviously, a lot of times. But it was like really like I mean, we only like really had like the Call of Duties and like hey, like we didn't have like we don't have a giant gallery of like games and stuff. Like we had like maybe 5 Wii
I
games
don't
that we
either,
would play.
I mean, all of PS4 and Switch I bought,
Yeah,
and most of 360 I bought. I mean, I guess as a kid it was probably bought for me. Or
So
Christmas
to
presents
fill
and
them
stuff.
in, whenever I said that I was like pointing at like all Wayne's games, but yeah, I was just saying
like
it,
most of those, and all the
You
movies
bought,
were
yes.
bought by me. Also,
No,
so.
I'm not saying it like your
Nice
parents.
try, buddy.
I'm not saying it like your parents bought you all this stuff. I'm saying it as a kid, my parents didn't give me all this
Trust
stuff,
me.
and I didn't have that.
We
much
knew
stuff.
what you were saying.
Lane clearly did not.
Well,
He
you
was on
pointed
the
at my
attack.
stuff.
It was just for visual.
Point at that next time.
I mean, I guess let's basically.
So yeah, in summation, I think
Well, I guess so. I guess let's just go around
did
and say.
any of us except for Wyatt even say what we would want to do with our
Well, I think I
kids?
maybe thought about it a little bit more. I mean, personally, I even looked up what private school I wanted my kid to go
It's
to.
so hard
Wyatt
because
gets
the,
one girl's phone number.
But I think, honestly, I think right now, homeschool, elementary school, private middle
That's
school,
crazy though. I can't imagine homeschooling a kid.
and then they can
That's
choose
such, like,
for
a
high school
great
if I can
mindset.
afford it.
Here's the hard part though. It's
You won't be homeschooling.
we will all.
I mean,
make-
obviously, as a parent, like, as a couple, I guess you would be, but it would be my wife who does it, and that is the true toughest part.
Because, like,
to
what if she
convince
doesn't want
her
to?
to do it.
Well,
yeah.
yeah.
But the person I'm looking for would want to do it.
But I think
The
that
person
here's all.
I'm
our-
looking for. Well, I'll tell you after podcast.
So
we'll get into that here.
here is, I think, what we could all agree on is we will make the best decision based on the circumstances. Because it's like private school, you have to have all this money.
Sounds
Homeschool,
pretty
you have to have the
vague.
wife that could stay at home. Because it is vague. Because we don't know.
I know.
Like,
It
it's
is
all
true.
these facts.
Future
Factors.
unpredictable.
And like maybe like some of the wokeness like dies down, or maybe it accelerates even farther. It's like we don't really know. So it's like
That's a good point.
it's like
yes.
I think that we, since we're all thinking about this now,
Homeschooling,
20
I feel like is
years in
expensive.
advance.
Also, I mean, you got to like. I feel like because number one, you only have one salary now,
Yes,
And
no,
to buy
the
You have to
curriculum.
buy the
cost,
stuff,
yeah.
and you have to, and like I said, you still have to like pay for like property tax. Like you still have to pay school district.
Yeah.
Assuming voucher system doesn't like go into
I mean,
effect.
I've looked at like salary progression for the field I'm going into, and I think
well, no, I mean, Wyatt's gonna be making like
Oh, yeah.
$500K.
No,
like
I will
And
not
we
be making
won't, and that's why
500K.
we need this to take off. Share,
Yeah, so
like,
please.
share, subscribe.
But yeah, okay. So I'm saying homeschool, private. Then they can choose. What are you saying,
Yeah.
Lane?
So you say it again.
I'm saying homeschool elementary. This is my preferable. Homeschool elementary, private middle school, and then they can choose for high school.
Choose between all three.
No, or private or public.
Yeah,
for high school.
high school, big no in my opinion.
Yeah, big no.
I would say I just don't know about homeschool.
I've actually been anti homeschool, but until like
Okay, I think here's what I'll say. I'm not sure for sure at least homeschool or private up to high school. So I don't know I don't know the divide. I don't know if I'm pro homeschool or anti
I have a
homeschool.
good answer.
But so it's like
Dude,
dude.
no, I'm just saying it so I don't
About to
forget.
make
I
you
think
look
I
like a
probably agree.
fool.
But for me, I think honestly, I think private kindergarten through 8th grade, Philip just sent a Snapchat. Private kindergarten through 8th grade, and then private or public for high school they can choose.
Ross,
So
what do you say?
I'm going because the shift and more people, nothing important. Because this shift, unfortunately, because the shift of like more homeschool and stuff, I'm gonna go with a mega read, and the church will house homeschooling in the future, so that my kid will go there.
Well, I think that is private. That's like I want my kid to go to a
No,
private
the
Christian.
church will do it for free.
Oh,
Like for like elementary, like really young, like
Not
with
for-
maybe
okay.
volunteer
Pleasant Valley
old
does
ladies.
preschool.
Not
my mom was a
free,
teacher.
but reduced.
Yeah, like cheap alternative. So that's my mega read.
Well, my
But-
mom was a teacher at my church, and she
Yeah.
did preschool.
Yeah, so it's gonna expand and be even bigger because so many parents want the alternative.
It is homeschooling is on the rise. I don't know if
No,
you guys have looked. Like it's really
I
on the
said
rise.
that at the beginning of the podcast.
Man, that's such a good read of
Ross
mine.
No, because people are literally like, well, and another one, this is not to go on the tangent, but like, especially with the lockdowns, like that was like a big shift for a lot of people. Like ever since like 2020 lockdowns, like a lot of people have like homeschooling, like
Which is surprising.
it's like the Michigan 3 a.m. vote. It's like
Dogecoin.
exploding because so many parents were so like angry at how like public schools were handling like lockdowns. and
Yeah,
everything.
for sure.
But the only thing that I see bad about your kid not going through public school is because I had such a good time in
No,
public
I know.
school.
I agree. And like, the
But is it
social
just not the
skills you learn and
same? Is it just like the
Every kid is
gym
different.
locker room? Like
No.
I still want him to have that.
You
What I think
you
still
could
with
get
like
that with private
the
school.
private
And
middle
especially
school
if they
and the
do
public
sports.
high school.
Like if you
I
do
think
club
he's,
sports, I think you could still
I
get
think
a
he
lot
still
of that
gets.
stuff.
I think he still gets it. I guess like what are my favorite memories from elementary? Do I really have that many?
Oh,
I don't really remember.
Nothing
most
that
of
you
it.
wouldn't have gotten like in a private elementary school or even homeschool.
Or yeah, even like I'm just even thinking
Like
like
elementary school, like
what did I even?
I hardly remember it, if I'm gonna be
Yeah.
honest. Like I think I was like very underdeveloped as a, I have like what I'm saying is like I have an older brother, right? And he has, because he's older and like he just remembers so many things from our childhood that I don't, because I was like literally just too young to remember. And it's like I don't really have any memory that's like before like the third grade, I feel like, where it was like my own and not like a memory of somebody telling me
you
that
remember
I had the memory.
watching Alf on the Pirates of the Caribbean TV in your room or in Philip's room actually.
I mean, I remember that like the TV
Because
was
I
there
remember
and
that.
stuff.
I was at
But
your
it's
house.
like I remember watching like Alpha a lot as kids and all this, but like I can't like put myself in like the.
Do you remember watching Five Nights at Freddy's on the iPad? in
I
Philip's
do,
bed?
yeah.
All right, well that will do it for the podcast.
So
This was-
basically,
We
How
will
to
make the
educate your
best
kid.
decision based on the circumstances.
based on the circumstances, but broadly, large distrust in the way public schools are heading,
Yeah.
and likely, if we have children, when we have children,
Ooh.
will not be. We'll be buying some puts on public school.
Puts on
put it
public
that
school.
way.
But
Long
some
on
calls
private.
on our children, because they will be
Yes.
awesome.
And raising them as Christians, not as Republicans.
Ooh,
Yes.
good take.
And raising them as the whatever they were born to be, whether male or female.
It's a weird thing to say.
See ya.
I mean,
See
but it's
ya.
something that